welcome back to Monday Morning Mojo. I'm your host, Anna Gibbs, and today I want to speak directly to those of you who know and feel that you're evolving at this moment in time. And maybe you've changed, not in a way that's reckless, but in a way that was just really needed or necessary. And you're starting to ask yourself different questions, you're making different choices. Maybe you're just no longer content with playing the roles that don't fit you anymore, or you realize that you can't stay small just to make someone else feel more important or to keep the peace. And maybe, just maybe, people around you don't know what to do with you. They don't know quite what to make of it. And here's the truth. I've been there, and I want you to listen in today, and I want you to hold on to this. And here it is. You don't owe anyone the version of you they remember or like best. So let's just talk about what that means. It means that you're growing and maybe growing out of the expectations of some of the people or places around you. And that's okay, especially if you're growing more into your own power. And I think that we don't understand sometimes the pressure that is put on us to stay who we were because it's what people are used to, it's what they're comfortable with, it's what they can count on. And look, this is not about saying you're going to completely change into a different person or throw all of your values out the window or throw caution to the wind and completely show up as a different person. What I'm saying is that you have the right to grow and evolve, and that you have the opportunity to always evaluate your life and just ask yourself questions about whether or not your environment is currently supporting you. And I think sometimes we're afraid to ask those questions because we might be afraid of the answer. And I know that we all carry expectations. Some are spoken, some are unspoken. There are roles that we play in our lives, right? There are roles we play in our family. There's a version of you that your boss sees. There's a version of you that your coworkers get. There's the version of you that your partner is used to. And some of these identities could have been really started or crafted a long time ago. And maybe they were actually crafted or designed at a time in your life where you needed certain things, right? We might have needed to survive. We might have needed to succeed at a certain level. Maybe we needed to feel accepted. But yet, there comes a moment in our lives, and maybe I'm just speaking my own truth right now, but let me know if this resonates with you. There comes a point in our lives where we feel the changes, we feel the transitions, and we realize that we're just not that same person anymore. And it's okay. It is nothing to feel bad about or fearful about or apologize for. You should be unapologetically you. And I think our journey here on this planet as human beings is to grow, change, and evolve. And so if you realize that you're just not her anymore, and maybe you've outgrown that container, you've evolved beyond where you started, that's something to celebrate. But I know with that sometimes comes some tension because when you start to shift, a lot of times people will react to you in ways that are surprising because they're not caught up with all the change yet. They might even feel confused. They might feel like you're betraying them in some way, but all it is that you've grown. And all I can say, if your growth is a threat to someone or to their comfort, that's not on you. That's on them. And we should never play small to make someone else feel more important or to make them feel bigger. And we should never hold back our own growth or evolution because we want to keep the comfort zone in place more for other people than for ourselves. Again, it's not on you. It's just their resistance. And their resistance could come for a lot of reasons and from a lot of places within themselves. But remember, that's not your responsibility. You are here to experience new things. You are here to shift your thinking. You are here to, as I say, grow and evolve and really to develop more of your own potential. And if all of that is true, then it would stand to reason you can't stay the same and you can't always stay in the same place because you're just not here to be frozen in someone else's memory of you. You're here to become and you're here to continue to evolve. So sometimes what gets wrapped up in this is a little bit of guilt. And I think that guilt really cannot be your guide. And I want to just talk a little bit about that because when you start setting boundaries, when you start changing your mind or saying yes to new things, guilt will show up at some point for a lot of us. And it can show up quickly. And sometimes it's a little whisper and it's got you thinking things like, oh, you're being selfish, or oh, God, you've changed. Or even maybe a little bit louder, and the voice says something like, well, who do you think you are? See, guilt doesn't always mean you're doing something wrong, though. Sometimes guilt is just the signal that you're doing something different. And usually that something is honoring your truth more than your past. And I want you to know that I see you. I see you trying to poke through like that caterpillar trying to, blossom into a butterfly. And it's okay for you to spread your wings and decide that you want something different, whether it be for your career, whether it be for your relationships, whether it's to pick up and move to a new state, or even just to, try new things or grow in your leadership. It's all important to you and your growth matters. And if it does surprise someone else, if it does make them feel uncomfortable, again, it doesn't belong to you. It's on them, not you. So I'm going to share a few journal prompts with you that we'll put in the show notes. Some thoughts and questions that you can go back and reflect on and really, I think, sort of pull this apart. So here's the first question I would like you to think about. Where in your life are you staying small just to stay liked? Where in your life are you staying small just to stay liked? Or maybe you're staying small to just keep the peace, or you're staying small to out of loyalty to someone else. Maybe you feel like you can't grow because then that means you would be ready for a new career or that promotion, or you want to start your own business. And then what would that mean for your coworkers or your boss? But at the end of the day, this is your one and only life to live, and you have to make choices that are right for you. And if we were meant to stay the same, then we wouldn't have so much available to us in terms of our own mindset, creativity, ambition, dreams, potential. So, again, the question that I want you to think about is where in your life are you staying small to stay liked, or to stay in alignment with someone, or to stay comfortable with someone? I think that's a powerful question. And if I leave you with anything at all from this podcast episode, maybe it's a permission slip. Yeah, if I could give you something today, I want to write the permission slip. I want to tell you, I want to write it out for you, and I wanted to say, you have permission to change your mind. I think it could also say, you have permission to grow past the version of you that people are comfortable with. You have permission to stop proving to everyone or performing or pleasing everyone else instead of yourself. Because, my friends, you're not obligated to stay anywhere that just doesn't feel right. And maybe it did feel right for a long time. Maybe it is honoring the past enough with gratitude for where it's brought you, and for just taking a moment to recognize that what lies ahead looks different and it's okay. And all the things you've accomplished up until now have paved the road for you to be able to go further. And so you don't have to stay in the same relationship, the same job. You don't have to stay in the same identity box that just no longer really reflects who you are, or certainly doesn't reflect who you're becoming. And here's the other thing. You may not owe any explanation for every shift. growth speaks for itself. I think if you are constantly evolving and challenging yourself, I mean, I'm not the same leader I was 10 years ago. I don't have the same thoughts or beliefs that I might have had, especially in business 10 years ago. The way I accomplish something is different than the way I choose to accomplish it today. I still want the results. I still want to find success. And, what really drives me is helping other people and helping them achieve success. So none of that has changed, but maybe the way I want to go about it has changed. And I'm not going to feel sorry for that or apologize for that. I feel that we owe it to ourselves to constantly check in with the way we feel and asking ourselves if what we're doing supports our values, supports the way we want to live our life. I mean, that's really living your life by design. And I know I use that phrase here a lot on the show, but let's get real. What does that really mean? It means doing life on your own terms. So I think that when we acknowledge all that, and I know for me, when I started changing how I led or how I parented or how I show up in business and, maybe the way that I connected with people, yeah, people noticed. Some people were able to, meet that and move along with me or maybe even recognize and applaud it. And some pulled back, and that's okay. And it's okay to really stretch and maybe find that you'll possibly outgrow some of your environments or relationships. And again, you can honor the past and have gratitude for where it's brought you while you're still excited about embracing where you're headed. And so it's really about knowing that all these new seasons in your life don't have to always be a season of guilt or pleasing. It just means that you own your shit, yes, and you know that you're in a season of becoming, right? So at the end of the day, I just really feel like someone needs to hear this. At the end of the day, you are not broken because you want more. You're not unstable because you want to grow fast. You're not ungrateful because you're ready for a change. You're not being a victim because you're taking a stand for what's right for you. Sometimes a shift in how we think is not necessarily a mindset problem. It's just shifting and acknowledging that we need something different. And again, if you're growing and evolving, then you're becoming all the time. You're becoming more of who you were meant to be. And listen, that process can feel pretty messy at times. And yes, maybe uncomfortable and even lonely, but it's also truly the beginning of something extraordinary. And it could also be the beginning of some real freedom. And your evolution is not a betrayal of who you were, right? Like I said, we're honoring the past, but it could be a bold, beautiful expression of who you really are. It's your opportunity to stand in your moment of truth. So here's your mojo moment for the week. You don't have to shrink to be understood. And you definitely don't have to apologize for your growth. You don't have to keep performing for people who only loved you when you made yourself smaller. You are allowed to outgrow the old version of you and honor that old version of you because, like I said, it brought you so far, but it may not be enough to keep you moving in the direction of your dreams. And that old version of you was exactly what you needed then, but the new version of you is wiser, is more connected to yourself. You have more self-awareness. The new version of you is leading you into the new chapters of your life. And you're allowed to do that, and you're allowed to take up space. You are allowed to show up and have a seat at the table and take up space. You bring something to the table when you do. You have power, you have natural gifts, you have your strengths. And I think when you speak with truth, when you lead with your heart, right? When you lead with love, when you rise with intention, you will always be able to align with your true purpose. And I think that's how you reclaim your power. And again, not having to explain it, definitely not needing to justify it, just embody it. Just be it every day. So I trust that you heard something in today's message that you needed to hear. I believe that timing is everything. And again, you are not walking this alone. We're all on this walk too, together. And it's always about, I think, paying attention to who we are and paying attention to who we're meant to be. And really, I guess, answer the call. There's a calling on your heart right now that you're ignoring because you're trying to make it easier somehow for someone else or for something else. And I get that stepping out of your comfort zone is a little scary, but yet that's where all of the opportunities are. And your version of your perfect life, or I don't even want to say perfect, but your version of your life by design, right? Living your life on your terms is probably one decision away or maybe one conversation away from really stepping into that. So I encourage you to think about this message today. I want you to spend some time on it. I'm going to include some more prompts or journal questions for you as a download. Yeah, as a free gift for this episode, I'm going to put together a little journal worksheet that you can work on and really get into some of these thoughts. And really, I think, get more comfortable with change, especially when that change is happening to you. So, thank you for joining me this week. Let me know how this episode landed with you. Let me know what it's creating in terms of thoughts or what it's doing to inspire you to take action. And if it did resonate with you, you know there's someone else who needs to hear it too. So please pay it forward, share this episode with someone that you know and love, and encourage them to follow the show along with you because that just means as we grow the community, we make an impact in more people's lives. And I'm grateful for that. So thanks for being here every week. And I look forward to getting into a new conversation with you next week.